What comes to your mind when I say Ratan Tata? Take a few seconds to understand what I said. What comes to your mind when I say Ratan Tata? Trust, credibility, legacy. That's what comes to your mind. Compassion. What comes to your mind when I say Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft? Obviously, a very, very philanthropist man. He has the Gates Foundation that is working over time to help countries around the world tackle poverty and the societies that are not able to live up to the standards, right? Okay. Next, what comes to your mind when I say Kiran Mazumdar Shah? Strong woman, empowering, somebody who has lived life on her own terms. She has founded Biocon. She has been an inspiration to millions across the world. You know why these things actually stick on? These traits, personal traits, they stick on in our heads. That is because we have not just seen these people excel in their own fields on a professional level, but also seen their humane sides. So when Anand Mahindra puts out a tweet in the morning, I follow his Twitter account, and when he puts out a tweet in the morning, I'm sure to read it, because that is something that is going to be from somebody who's very credible, somebody who's very witty, somebody who I can associate with as a human being who's running a business. That's what Anand Mahindra is to me. Ferrari. The founder of Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari, he was born in 1898 in Modena, Italy, and his family was his story is typically that of from rags to riches, and his family was into carpentry, and he has risen to the top as a driver and now as a successful entrepreneur. So what is the thread that I'm actually talking about? Can you understand? Well, not just professional excellence, but also a personal touch to your personality, human touch to your personality. It all exhibits in what is called a personal brand. Personal brand earlier used to be in the form of visiting cards. Whenever you go to a place, a seminar or workshop, you just pass around the visiting cards that, hi, my name is so and so and I'm the owner of this company. But now, even though visiting cards are still valid, some people like to keep it, I like to keep it, but now the digital visiting card has become your website, your social media channels, your engagement on digital platforms. If you are there on digital platforms, if you are able to make a noise on digital platforms, the positive noise, not the negative one, you are known as a brand, right? So what essentially is personal branding in terms of digital platforms or digital adoption? Let's look into that today. How many of you have seen videos of Neil Patel for SEO? He's the master at that. If you are even closely related to marketing, you would know the name Neil Patel, right? How many of you know the name Jeff Bezos? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. How many of you would remember so many people? You know what happens is that in a universe that is constantly expanding, especially the digital platforms, they are constantly expanding. We have got so many subscribers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, everywhere. Clearing that clutter and making a space for yourself, carving a niche for yourself, becomes all the more important. And there's a strategy behind it. There's a science to it, which I can help you decipher. Point number 1. What is your story? Steve Jobs had a story to tell. Every time you would see a new Apple product coming out, it was because, and there was a craze for that Apple product, it was because Steve Jobs had a story behind it, or had a story to associate with, and that helped him sell the product or make a mark for the product in multiple ways. So he had a story to tell. What is your story? Are you somebody who's looking for an employment opportunity? Maybe yes, because Corona is uncertain. and people's jobs are under fire. So maybe you're looking for a job. Are you an entrepreneur looking out for investments? Maybe, because again, you want to grow, you wanna grow more, and investments is something that you need. Are you somebody who is looking out for being called as a subject matter expert in your field? So what clicks for you? What is the common thread that you should be talking about? That is your personal brand. Your personal brand has to be defined on your digital platforms. Right now, making a TV ad or making a radio jingle is costing too much money. But on the other hand, a website that talks about you, blogs that talk about your skills or your achievements, your case studies, your ROI for a particular brand, tweets that talk about you and help you become a part of a conversation that's happening. For example, if you are top-notch healthcare expert right now, talking about corona would be the right thing to do, right? Apart from that, what if you don't have a website, you don't have a social media channel, but you're trying to make a brand for yourself? Well, it's like shooting in the dark. You might get a good employment opportunity, you might get an investor, but the probability of getting all of that is very far and few. Now, tell me one thing: do you have a website? Do you have a website that talks about you? Do you have a website that tells people of what you have done in the past? What have been your achievements? What have been your case studies? Are you active on social media platforms? Can people, for example, if you set up a meeting and if you're going to meet this important guy, now let's step into that important guy's shoes and understand that how will he be evaluating you as a person or as a company owner. He would be surely, if he's a smart person, he'll be looking up at your website if there is, or your LinkedIn profile if there is, or if there's a Facebook page that you have. He would be looking out for black and white trends over there. By black and white trends, I would say that if on Facebook you are posting too much of content that is hatred filled, there's a lot of trolling that goes on right now nowadays. So if there's so much of content around that, he will form an opinion about you. Similarly, if there is a lot of content that he has seen on your social media channels that talks about the recent research you've done, or a recent article that you've commented on, or somebody who has praised you for your accomplishments, that would trigger a different sort of a bell in his head. So personal branding in today's times is very much digital in nature. There are smart people who are looking out for your presence, for your footprint on digital platforms. They are looking it up through your website. They're looking it up on your social media channels. They are looking it up in every comment that you make, in every like that you give, in every share that you do. So are you paying heed to your personal branding? Are you paying heed to your own personal brand? But first of all, tell me, what is your story? I would like to hear your story in a message or in a comment in the section below. Thank you.